Do you want to take control of your health? Hear the truth about dieting and weight loss? Learn the best strategies for maintaining a healthy lifestyle? This is the Yossi Muller Show.
And welcome to the show. I'm Yossi Muller.
Oh, and hi, I'm Duddy Muller.
You weren't sure whether you should say hi or I'm.
Yeah, I was in between hi and I'm, so I'm.
Duddy is a cook with a background.
Hey, wasn't I a chef until now?
You were a chef, but the last thing you made for me was not that good. Today's topic is food is everything. People are under the impression that food is meant to be used for everything.
It is my life.
Food is what I do for entertainment. It's what I do not to be bored, for an activity, as a distraction.
Distraction from what? From life, from people, from socializing. When you know there might be a person, situation, altercation you will want to avoid, you go to where the food is, because if you're eating, you don't have to pay attention to what's around and you don't have to deal with any of it.
Or what's going on inside your brain.
Right, just distraction.
Food is a way to get people to an event, and that's why I go to events, for the food.
Right. Oh, you should come. It'll be a great speech. Nah, I don't know. There'll be food. Oh, okay. I think I have time.
Food is how I connect to people. Food is how I celebrate. Food is how I commemorate people or events in history. Food is how I'm good to people. I give them food. Food is how I comfort myself and others. Food, it's a reward. It's a reward for myself, or if I need to reward others. Do you know how I maintain discipline? Food.
Wow, yeah, food. Food's very important in your life.
Well,
In all of our lives.
in all of our lives,
Food is what I use to relax, to unwind. I use it to show appreciation. I'm going to give a gift. What's it going to be? Of course it's going to be food. Who doesn't appreciate food, right? It shows that I care. It's how I get people to like me in business. You make a toast, you have a meal, and that's where you make your business deals.
food isn't included as part of my life. It is my life.
Why do people think this way, Yossi?
Because food is the easiest way to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. It's so simple and it is so accessible. And even if we want to go through the trouble of not using food to accomplish all these objectives, we're going to have a hard time because everyone else uses primarily food to accomplish everything they need to accomplish.
And we wouldn't want to be different.
And even if we want to be different, it's not simple to be different when everyone else is doing something. We are part of a society. It's not just a pressure thing. Practically speaking, when you're the only one doing something, it's not simple.
Absolutely.
And food really does an amazing job at all these things we're trying to accomplish. Not long term, but in the short term, it really does a good job.
Why are people wrong? Isn't food really everything? It is a part of everything we do, isn't it?
They're wrong because there are other ways to accomplish all these things. And it's just that as a society, we rely on food for everything. And that's because it's addictive and unregulated. 100 years ago and prior, people didn't use food for any of these things.
And food was a lot less addictive. How can we accomplish everything we might want, all these things, enjoyment, entertainment, celebration, commemoration, using something other than food?
A lot of why we turn to food for things we're trying to accomplish is because of habits. And one way we could accomplish what we want without turning to food is by simply not turning to food. We will learn not to need food as much.
We will be getting rid of that habit of always looking for food.
People think that we eat food because we need food, but it's really we need food because we eat food. It's not that we eat it because we feel like we need to. The only reason why we feel like we need to is because we're eating it. We got into those habits and we could get out of those habits. However, sometimes we do need a substitute. So let's go through the different scenarios where we would use food to accomplish our objectives, and let's see how we can use something else instead of food.
Okay, let's go.
So enjoyment. Is there another way to enjoy yourself without food?
I hope so.
Music is enjoyable.
Yes.
Books can be enjoyable. Shopping, especially with someone else's credit card.
Oh, yes. I love that. I don't like what happens after when the police get involved, but
I like sports,
sports, right?
games.
Yeah. Whatever happened to having a good time simply with games, sports, just spending time with each other, doing simple things?
I find a show or a concert to be entertaining.
There we go. You don't need food as entertainment. There's a whole world of entertainment.
You have entertainment as entertainment. In order to not be bored, and don't underestimate just how often we eat to not be bored, we can do something else. When we're sitting by a table for 2 hours at a time, and the only thing people are doing around us is eating, and we're going to say, oh, I was eating because I was sitting by a table. We're eating because we're bored, because it's boring to sit by the table and not eat.
True.
There's something else we could do. We could help serve and clear. We can have an interesting discussion.
Yeah, just the other day I was at a class, and I normally eat by this class. They have food there. But within 5 minutes of showing up, I had a conversation with someone that lasted a little while. I ended up eating almost nothing. I was not really hungry. I was only going to eat because of boredom. Just having a conversation with someone, an interesting conversation, and that solved it.
And one of the reasons why we don't tend to have interesting conversations is because we're not talented at having discussions. And do you know why we don't have this talent?
Because we don't practice and we don't even try.
We don't practice because we're too busy eating.
I eat because I can't have interesting conversations, and I can't have interesting conversations because I eat.
And we eat because we need a distraction. I find coffee to be a great distraction. And people respond with, but I can't always drink coffee because too much caffeine isn't good, or it's nighttime. What if I need a distraction at nighttime? Guess what? There's another way to drink coffee without caffeine. It's called decaf.
I have a question. Do you enjoy the exact same foods you enjoyed when you were 2 months old? You can learn to enjoy other foods besides what you just happen to be used to.
Yeah, and it took about a week for me to get used to my decaf Parev coffee, but once you like it, you don't go back.
You want to develop a habit of enjoying Parev coffee? Drink it.
And if you're going to do the coffee hack as a distraction, you should do cold coffee, because when we need a distraction, we don't always have time to make coffee from scratch. So if we make coffee in advance and put it in the fridge, we could have a homemade iced decaf Parev coffee.
Boom. Distraction. No unhealthy food there.
A way to get people to an event is with food. And that's also why I go to events, we said. There could be people at the event that are interesting. There's something called music, which happens at events. You could dance or just be entertained by the music. There's something called decor, the ambiance.
Instead of using food as a way to connect to people, you can actually talk to them. Talk to a person, have a heart-to-heart conversation, share experiences, be present.
And if you need to celebrate, you can do something fun, or you could get yourself something nice.
You don't need to have a birthday cake. In camp, when I make a birthday cake for a staff or a camper, I'll often find that the people are uncomfortable to tell me if they're going to pie the person with it because they want to do it, but you put so much work into it, they're afraid to tell me. And meanwhile, 100%. That's what I want you to do. If I know that the person's going to be pieing it, I will shape it in a way that there's more cream and is better for pieing even. You get the entertainment and the fun out of it without the calories. It's the best way to use a sugar, processed carb, fat-filled cake.
Is to pie someone.
Not in restaurants, but if it's a friend and you can do it, 100% I'm not against that.
And we're not going to get into a theological discussion about if it's wasting food to pie someone with a birthday cake as opposed to eating it, because I realize that many of my listeners are like my former self, food addicts, and for some bizarre reason, really truly believe that it's a waste of food. Well, that cake is even food in the first place.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole discussion.
Or it has any value, or that pieing someone, which is having fun, is a waste, and eating it and putting your health in jeopardy is not wasting it. And it's not about being a health nut or not. I'm totally pro people enjoying their lives and eating cake if they feel like it. But strictly from a theological perspective of if you're wasting cake or not, anyone who thinks that eating cake is not wasting it, and is not only wasting it, but is doing something worse than wasting it, is clearly a compulsive overeater who doesn't understand the first thing about wasting food. The sugar and flour and margarine is already wasted. There's no nutritional value. It legitimately has no value, and it's only damaging.
So how do I get out of using food for commemorating an event or a person? Do a good deed related to the person or event that you are commemorating. Don't make it about food, it's about the person.
Do something good to continue the person's legacy or commemorate the event in history by doing an action. If I want to be kind to people by giving them food, one of my clients just today was telling me how she buys candy for her grandchildren, and she's having a difficult time on her diet because she eats the candy.
There we go.
I explained to her that children are just as happy with toys as they are with candy. Children are very happy if you just buy a bulk party favors. They love that.
And toys last longer and are healthier than candy.
If I need to comfort myself or someone else, there are other ways to comfort yourself. A hot shower, a hot tea, a nap. If I want to comfort someone else, I could give them a hug, a compliment. If I want to reward myself, me personally, I'll splurge on some healthy food that's very expensive and very tasty. If I needed to reward someone else, there are gifts I could give someone that's not food.
You could also give them a good time. You could have fun, do something fun, go somewhere fun. That's a reward.
And it will be so much more appreciated than food. When the receptionist in my office building gets candy platters on Hanukkah from every single person in the building, and I give them a gift that they'll actually use, they appreciate it a lot more. People don't need so much food. They just had food. There's no shortage of junk food everywhere you turn.
Right, yeah. And with regard to using food to maintain discipline?
Parents and teachers. Parents need to maintain discipline in the home. Teachers need to maintain discipline in the classroom. So many of them rely on junk food. You have these sixth graders walking home with 2-liter bottles of soda and donuts. Some of them have type 2 diabetes. Instead of just saying, oh, that's an unusual case, think about it just for a minute. Is it okay that we live in a society where every single community has dozens of children with type 2 diabetes? Think about it if it was your child. It's not okay. And you don't need to do it. If you give a kid prizes, they'll appreciate it just as much as if you give them nosh. And if you give out tickets in advance that they could redeem for prizes, you get twice the amount for your buck. Because you first give out tickets and that's all exciting, and then they could redeem the tickets for prizes.
And instead of using food to help me focus, I'm going to go find a quiet place. I will
make sure to study in specific time increments, so it'll be easier for me to get it done. I'm going to do this chapter in this amount of time.
It's easier if you break it down that way. Study with someone else. Having someone study with you is a very easy way to help you focus.
And if I need energy,
a proper diet will give you energy. Sleep right. Drink water, exercise the right amount, and you will have energy.
Right. Don't exercise too little because you need exercise, and don't exercise too much because then you'll need energy and then you'll rely on food for energy.
Right.
Exercise the right amount, and if you want to exercise a lot, you could build your way up slowly.
And if you need food to keep you awake, you need energy to drive. For example, you're driving through the night, coffee. Use coffee.
And if you can't get used to coffee without sweetener, it takes about a week. There's something called caffeine mints, and that's fine.
Instead of fundraising with food, there are so many other ways to fundraise besides for food. Instead of using food to relax and unwind, just calm yourself down, relax, meditate a little, think, slow your mind down.
Not everyone likes the word meditate.
Yeah,
the people who like it love it. You know, it's a love it or hate it type of thing, but I'll tell you, it has its uses. And if you're not into the full-blown meditation experience, you could take some of it, the deep breathing, the closing your eyes, the relaxing. It works. And if I need to show appreciation to someone or give someone a gift, I don't have to use food. There was a fellow who I am very proud of, and I'm still proud of him because he lost very, very nicely. He lost 3 pounds a week consistently. He was following a very strict diet to the letter. After about 20 weeks of consistently losing weight, he shows up a little uncertain and he walks onto the scale and he's not so happy because instead of losing his 3 pounds, he gained 1.5 pounds. And he was like, oh no, I know what it was. It was a cheesecake. I was like, it's not Shavuos. Shavuos is not for another 2 weeks. It's like, yeah, but I was a guest by someone and they served cheesecake. I was like, oh, poor you. I feel bad. But why didn't you just decline the cheesecake? You were so self-disciplined up until now. He said, I couldn't decline the cheesecake because I bought it. No, it's funny, but I brought the cheesecake as a gift. So when they brought it out, I couldn't say no. It was a whole ceremony.
Right, exactly.
Now, he wasn't being so naive. He was in a big rush on Friday afternoon, and he ran into the store. He had to grab something, and it was 2 weeks before Shavuos. And of course, in the Frum communities, 2 weeks before Shavuos, you have to start with the cheesecake, and then you have to keep going 2 weeks after. That was what was sitting on the counter when he walked into the store. So He brought it. He didn't think twice. He was in a rush.
Right. I hear it all the time whenever I'm by a group. You'll hear, oh, I didn't know what to get. This looked good. If you go into a store not knowing what you're going to get, the unhealthy foods will always look good.
So you have to plan in advance and bring flowers to your host, or wine, or a fruit platter.
With regard to making a business deal, using food for business is huge. And it's such a waste.
Because it's not necessary. You need some sophistication, like just go to a coffee shop.
Just sit down and have a conversation. It's about the business anyway.
The most successful business people do not use food, by the way. because they take their life and their health very seriously.
So, Yossi, should a person never use food in these situations?
Of course you should use food for these purposes sometimes, but it has to be within reason. You have to create a lifestyle for yourself where you do rely on food, but only to the extent that you can afford to without hurting your health or weight loss objectives. So the take-home message is, even though we are used to using food
For everything.
and the people around us use food
For everything.
and we want to use food,
For everything.
we don't have
For
to.
everything. Sorry.
We don't have to.
You don't have to. It's a mindset that we're all kind of stuck in. We don't have to be like that. We could just take a step back and look for other options. Don't think food first.
Food could be part of our life, but it shouldn't be our entire life. And we can find substitutes for food to accomplish everything we want to accomplish. And simply not using food, even if we don't find the substitute, just the act or the inaction of not using food will do so much to help us create a healthy, sustainable lifestyle.
And that brings us to the end of this episode.
Thank you so much for listening.
We hope you join us next time.